Look at the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's aligned with astonishing precision. Less than 0.07 degrees off true north, built of 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing over 50 tons. No inscriptions explain how it was done. Mainstream theories say ramps, sleds, and manpower. But is that enough to explain this level of perfection? Maybe ancient builders understood natural forces in ways we have lost.
I think levitation was probably a scientific reality to ancient cultures.
Imagine using sound and vibration to move stone. In Tibet during the 1930s, a Swedish engineer allegedly witnessed monks levitate massive boulders by arranging drums and trumpets in precise arcs. They produced a sound that caused stones to rise and fall into place. Myth or forgotten physics? Evidence exists in Egypt too. The famous core number 7 discovered by Flinders Petrie shows spiral drill marks on granite that modern machines would struggle to reproduce. Engineers estimate the tool cut 500 times faster than today's drills. How could Bronze Age Egyptians do that? They may have harnessed resonance, magnetism, or crystalline properties of stone, natural technologies beyond our imagination.
Interestingly, the stories about the Ark of the Covenant, it was sheathed in gold, and it would have been extremely heavy. Would have been very difficult for people to lift and move. And I've seen some calculations of how heavy the damn thing would have been. And, it was carried on staves because according to the accounts, no one could touch it. I noticed, interestingly, that, the tribe that was the only tribe that was allowed of the 12 tribes to actually transport and move. Do you know which tribe that was? The Levites.
Even the Ark of the Covenant, legendary, golden, untouchable, may symbolize knowledge of high-energy materials. The very tribe allowed to carry it? The Levites. Levity, levitation. Coincidence? Maybe the ancients weren't primitive. Maybe they worked with forces we barely understand today.
They also refer to these individuals as being bearded. They often refer to there being 7 of them. In ancient Mesopotamia, they're called the 7 sages. In ancient Egypt, at the Temple of Horus at Edfu, they are also referred to as the 7 sages. In ancient India, it's Manu and the 7 sages who appear after the flood, trying to restore the knowledge that was lost during the time of the flood.
Why do cultures across the world tell the same stories of floods and fire from the sky? The Bible speaks of Noah, always the same, a warning, a great boat, survival after a world-ending flood. Science now shows these may reflect real events. At the end of the last ice age, seas rose over 400 feet, drowning coasts. Plato himself wrote, "It has the form of myth, but signifies a deviation of heavenly bodies that caused a conflagration on earth." Scholars today suspect this reflects a real cosmic impact. And Plato's story of Atlantis, a civilization destroyed in one day and night of floods and earthquakes around 9600 BC, the exact time of the Younger Dryas cataclysm.
The Younger Dryas really ticks all the boxes as a worldwide disaster, which definitely involved sea level rise, both at the beginning and at the end of the Younger Dryas. It definitely involved the swallowing up of lands that previously had been above water. And I think it's an excellent candidate for this worldwide tradition of a global cataclysm, of which one of, but not the only, distinguishing characteristics was a flood, an enormous flood, and the submergence of lands that had previously been above water, underwater. The fact that this story is found all around the world suggests to me, we know there was a nasty epoch, the Younger Dryas, when flooding did occur and when the earth was subjected to events cataclysmic enough to extinguish entirely the megafauna of the Ice Age.
12,800 years ago, Earth's climate suddenly plunged back into an ice age. Megafauna vanished. Human cultures collapsed. What happened? This event, called the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, suggests Earth was struck by fragments of a comet, triggering floods, cold, and extinctions. We've seen smaller examples. In 1908, over Tunguska, Siberia, a 50-meter asteroid exploded in the atmosphere, releasing the energy of 185 Hiroshimas. It flattened 80 million trees across 2,000 square kilometers. Imagine that, multiplied by 1,000. That was Chicxulub, 66 million years ago, wiping out the dinosaurs. Randall Carlson argues that Earth has been hit more often than we admit. Over 200 craters have been identified. Carlson's warning is sobering. We live between cataclysms. The sky has fallen before. It will fall again. The only question is when.
Stonehenge is laid out on a geometric template. If you draw a circle around the outer face of the big Sarsen stone sandstone circle, it's right at 105.6 feet. That's the diameter. So it looks like they were using a unit of measurement that was a sub-multiple of a mile when they built Stonehenge 4,000 some years ago. What is it? I think it's part of an ancient technology. And that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I think all of these ancient structures that are using this orientation to the heavens, that's what they've got in common. They have a common geometry, a common orientation, and there's another factor too. It also seems that they're not located randomly. They're placed auspiciously with respect to the geometry.
Why did ancient people build with such precision? Stonehenge aligns perfectly with the solstice sunrise. The Great Pyramid encodes the dimensions of Earth itself. Scale its height and perimeter by 43,200, and you get Earth's polar radius and equatorial circumference. Coincidence? Or hidden knowledge? Carlson points to sacred sites often built on fault lines and magnetic anomalies. At Avebury, researchers measured currents of electromagnetic energy focused by stone arrangements. Were these temples more than ritual spaces? Were they energy instruments, amplifying Earth's natural fields, syncing human consciousness with cosmic cycles? Randall Carlson believes so. He calls it an ancient advanced system of knowledge, astronomy, geometry, geology, and spirituality woven into stone. Perhaps the ancients weren't worshiping gods of the sky. Perhaps they were measuring the heavens themselves. From myths of floods and fire, to the precision of ancient monuments, to the scars of cosmic impacts, Randall Carlson weaves a story that is at once ancient and urgent. He reminds us, humanity has lived through cataclysms before. We carry those memories in stone, in myth, in blood, and perhaps in the very geometry of the world itself. The question is not whether catastrophe will strike again. The question is, will we be wise enough to listen to the warnings of the past and use the knowledge we still have to prepare for the future?